So this is our second year of running the program already, and we hope that this opportunity will provide many of you the opportunities to meet other teachers, to find out maybe cooperation opportunities, and to continue learning. And we are planning for our third year, and I think you probably have gotten an application package on your way in. So please read it carefully, and we really welcome a lot of you to join us in our next round of selection and then our next round of program. We really hope that by having this kind of opportunity, everyone will have possibility of joining us. And if you have any questions, you can come and see me. I'm recording this for the program. So if you have questions and things, I'll be more than happy to answer you after the presentations. All right. So without any further delay, we're very lucky to have invited two speakers from our last year's participating universities. One, Mr. Jonathan Fowler from QUT. He will be speaking this morning. I won't do any introduction because I'll let him do the introduction. That will be following next start. And we'll also have a representative from the University of British Columbia in Canada, Ms. Jess Gill. She will be speaking in the afternoon. So I look forward to hearing your presentations, and I now want to hand the mic over to Mr. Fowler.
Okay, thank you. As was said, I'm from QUT, Brisbane, in Australia. Some of you, I don't have my glasses on, some of you went to the program last year in Brisbane. Can you please raise your hand to show people here who you are? So if you want to talk to someone who's done the program, these are people who you can have a chat with today. Hello everybody, nice to see you again. Alright, one of the things that you receive on the way in is this piece of paper here. We're not going to do anything with that today, this is just a little Happy New Year present from me. Many of these activities you will know, but I think as teachers we know so many activities and so many things that we can do, but you forget them. So I tried to make a list of common ones, a list of ones that are very easy to do with almost zero preparation. So if you reach a time in the class where your class is going crazy and you want to change their focus, any of these activities will be a good thing you can use there, or to switch their brain on Monday morning to change from Mandarin thinking to English thinking. So that's just a little something. Alright, I'm going to talk about two things today. One is about reading, and the other is about numbers. The reading is something that very few English as a second language speakers, teachers and students, something that they rarely do regularly, voluntarily, for pleasure. Can you please raise your hand if you regularly read books in Mandarin? Several? No, not everyone. So some don't. Okay, how many of you regularly read books for pleasure in English? Okay, small group. What I'm trying to do today is try and convince those of you who don't read English to begin, and to encourage you to use First of all, I'm just going to quickly mention some research that has been done into the benefits of reading. This is probably well aware of this already, but I just want to make it clear. So if we go back to 1985, in Singapore, there was a study done over 2 years, 3,000 they were read to by the teacher, and they were taught to read from given books to take home, to read in their own free time. The research was conducted by Dr. Warren Kelly, E-L-L-E-Y. In 1993, Gresham wrote a book called The Power of Reading. And in that book, not many of you may be familiar with it, but for those of you who are, he summarised the research into reading and pleasure that had been done around the world. And one of the programs he mentioned, focused on, was this Singapore program. The results were pretty impressive when they compared those students with other students. They called them the experimental classes. And they outperformed the students who had been taught traditionally, not only in reading and reading comprehension, but also in vocabulary, in oral language, in grammar, listening, comprehension, and in writing. So in other words, by reading more, they improve all their English skills, not just their reading skills. And you can understand that it may improve their writing, you can understand that quite easily, but also it improves their listening, because it gives them they're used to that input, flow of natural input. But because they have so much control over the pace, they can read, stop, and go back and read again and check, and go back and read again and keep reading, and so on, as we all do when we're reading. It's quite different from listening, when you very often have no control. If you're listening to radio or listening to TV, you can't control it. You just go. If you miss something, too bad. In a conversation, you can at least say, I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please? So the effects were much broader than you would imagine. Ellie himself, in the summary of the program, said that children were exposed to extensive range of high interest illustrated storybooks. Now, high interest is an important word here. Reading has to be interesting to be of benefit. It's not some kind of punishment. It should be a pleasure. It should be like chocolate. And again, they found that they actually learned more quickly. When they were given new material to learn, new language to learn, they actually learn new things quicker than the other students as well. So it's caused some kind of shift in their mind, in their thinking. And again, he mentions the same sort of thing that Crash said in reviewing the research. It spread its effect to writing, speaking, as well as control over syntax, self-control of vocabulary, and so on. So that's primary school. From 1990 to 1995, there was a program conducted in Singapore with high school students. They chose 40 of the weakest or lowest performing high schools in Singapore in terms of English achievement. 40 of the weakest schools. And in those schools, they introduced a program where the students would read silently for 20 minutes a day. Now, I can't tell you whether that 20 minutes was in class time or in their own time. Either way, it was 20 minutes per day. Then once a week they had a lesson focused on extensive reading, and in that class they would discuss the books that they've been reading, and they discussed them with each other. They would discuss them with the teachers. That result, I'm sorry, there's a lot of text here, but it's a quote. So Davis was the person who conducted the research, and it's saying much the same thing. Pupils develop a wider, active and passive vocabulary. They use more varied sentence structure, were better at spotting and correcting grammatical mistakes in their writing and listening. They showed an overall improvement in writing skills and increased confidence and fluency in speaking. So confidence, I'm sure all of you know and agree that confidence is one of the most important things that you have to give our students. Without confidence, they will never try. They'll never try to use the language. They may study it like mathematics, geometry, but they'll never treat it as a language, as a way of communicating.
So they have to.
So, there are, I believe there's a strong case to show that reading does improve our English. We often think of improving our English will increase our reading skills. But if you turn it around, increasing your reading will improve your English skills. So, whilst we do a lot of reading in class, what I'm trying to promote today is reading for pleasure. Outside the class. And everything I'm going to say from now is directed to you as teachers, but also to you as language learners. We are lifelong language learners. If you're not in the habit of reading pleasure, hopefully, I can convince some of you that if you do that, you'll enjoy it and you will keep your English level up. The need for authentic English is something that's quite hard to come by reading. Reading is as good as having someone to listen to. Alright, so why do it? In easy, general terms, the more you read, the better your English becomes. Simple. It expands vocabulary, not only the obvious things like vocabulary, but also the all enjoying something gives you a positive mindset about that thing, doesn't it? So once you start enjoying reading, it improves, it makes your feeling about English in general more positive. And remember, I'm talking to you and your students. So it will improve your confidence and also improve their confidence. And here's Crashen again from Power of Reading. So when second language learners read for pleasure, they can continue to improve in their second language, and this is the part that many teachers don't like. They can improve without classes, without teachers, without study, even without people to converse with. Now, that doesn't mean that you are useless. But what it does mean is that the great work that you do with your students can grow and be improved on by the students independent of you. Once you begin planting the seed, the students can water the flowers and make them grow. Alright, so I think many of you, I just realised, don't really read very much in Mandarin, but those of you who do, I'm sure, are convinced, you know in your own mind, that you can enjoy reading. Reading can be a pleasure in Mandarin. Well, it's also possible to be a pleasure. One of the most important things when you first start, whenever you do something that's not natural, whenever you do something that you don't normally do, one good idea is to make to find out, have a plan before you begin. So one of the things that people need to do to change to becoming a reader is to form a reading habit. Don't just say, I'll do it later, I'll do it later, I'll do it later. Think of a time that you normally could have 5 minutes or 10 minutes when you could read. Perhaps on the bus, going to work, on the train, while your husband or your wife or someone is talking to you. Maybe at the dinner table. Perhaps not. But find a regular time and try as much as possible to stick to that. Make that part of your routine. Brushing your teeth, most people do it at a set time every day. They don't do it at a different time every day. Make your reading something like that. And it doesn't have to be an hour. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. As often as you can, because A little every day is much better than a lot once a week or a lot once a month. Think about eating. You eat 3, 4, 5 times a day. You don't wait until Friday afternoon and eat 7 days of food. Right? So it's much the same. Keep up regular practice, regular input. Okay, now, what should you be reading? What should your students be reading? It's very easy these days to find authentic material on the internet. You only have to put in www.anything almost, and English will come up. But there's probably no point to a lot of that reading. And for students in particular, it may be quite difficult. Most of them are not interested in the reading, they're interested in getting some picture or some game or some link. So I'm going to look at graded readers, which many of you probably know, but they are, for those of you who don't know what graded readers are, short, easily understood, easily read books at different grades, different levels. Some of them are based on famous English books, some of them are based on movies, some of them are biographies of famous people. Others are original stories written for this specific purpose. I'm going to talk about them today, but I also have some to give you a little bit later, to give to people, actually, later on. Not everybody, sorry about that. So, the good thing about graded readers is that they're given a grade or a number, and you can tell from that grade or that number how easy or how difficult they are. So, I always recommend that you choose easy books to read. Some people, most people I guess, see reading as a kind of challenge. Right, I'm going to read. Here's my dictionary. I'm ready to begin. I would encourage you to read without a dictionary. I don't mean read something you don't understand, I mean read something that you do understand without a dictionary. Dictionary just slows you down. You don't want it. Studying vocabulary, you need a dictionary. But I'm not talking about study. I want you to separate in your mind between studying reading and reading for study. And this is purely to enjoy your time, like watching TV. So you don't want to be using a dictionary all the time. Professor Chen from NTNU told me an interesting technique yesterday. She said, if you start reading a book, she calls it rule of thumb. If you find a word that you don't understand, 1 finger. Another word you don't know, 2 fingers. Another word, 3, 4. And finally, the thumb, 5. If you reach the thumb, change voices. It's a very good idea. I agree completely. You should not be reading things that are too difficult. Too easy is fine. If you read and think, oh, this is a bit easy, that's good. You're reading faster. You don't need to feel that you're being lazy.